Phil Boname, past member, vice chair of the Vancouver Planning Commission, probably back in the 1980s, if I recall correctly. And I was invited on several occasions. It's the first opportunity I've had to participate. I've been out of the country on the previous occasions. This is your third seminar of this type?
I believe so,
Yeah.
But I'm not with the planning
So this is
commission
my first time as a participant in these series.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what particularly interests you about kind of the urban future for Vancouver?
Well, I think we should all be interested in our future. I have no precise reflection on this because, as I say, this is my first engagement, and it would be interesting to see what my remarks might look like or sound like after this presentation. My first reaction is that, by definition, the Commission should be quite concerned with its future. And this seems to be a regurgitation of what happened last year, which is fine, but I'm hoping that there'll be some effort by the group here tonight to think about longer range planning. And one of the difficulties that we have, I think, is an untoward concentration on the current situation, which is important, but simultaneously there should be some serious consideration to long-range planning. What's the city going to look like 30, 80 years from now? And are we moving in the right direction?
And have you thought about that yourself?
Oh, goodness, yes.
Oh, so tell me what you think. I want to be inspired.
Well, it's not so much a question of inspiration. I do believe, though, that there's room occasionally to consider Vancouver in the global context, and I mean this from the standpoint of primarily urban design. It's been over 60, 70, almost 80 years since Bartholomew was engaged to do a study of a new vision, if you like, for the city of Vancouver. Nothing of that nature has been done since his study. And yes, I think a substantial prize should be presented, which is always a difficulty. Who's going to fund such a program? But I think it would be to our advantage to allow the city to be subjected to a competitive program of what the future might look like, visually, functionally, and I think, for the sake of discussion, the window would be 50 years hence. What should the city look like? Second observation I would make is that we're still too parochial, and we forget that really we're part of a large, not even metro, of a region. And I think more planning has to be devoted to the regional planning, of which the city of Vancouver is very important, no question about it. But many cities, like Calgary and Edmonton, they have one planning department for the entire metropolitan area. Here we have 21 planning departments, and then we have Metro Vancouver on top of that. And then we have two other regional governments that are part of the region of Vancouver. So who's looking after the region planning? All these things fit together.
Now, if you kind of could give a bare bones sketch of what it might look like if there was regional planning, like what would be some of the elements that we would, that would come up? Because it's broader.
Certainly we'd probably give more attention to issues of transportation and how to curtail urban sprawl and how to accelerate those aspects of growth that are going in the positive direction rather than the negative direction. Certainly the greening of Vancouver is an important part of that. But if we can accelerate the diminishment of oil and gas and other non-replenishable energy, so much the better. I think we have a serious containment problem, which is what's driving up costs of housing, and we're going to have to find some solutions to that. We forget that Toronto went through this process. It's now the third largest metropolitan area in North America, with 4.5 million people, and we're bound on the same track. 20 years ago, if you'd asked people if we're going to be 2.5 million people today, they would say no. We're there. And so at 4 million, what's the place going to look like? So we have the sea, we have the water, we have the mountains. It's a very, very serious problem. We're going to have to go vertical. We're going to have to live on top of mountains. We're going to have to live on water. And no one's thinking about those three other dynamics of accommodation.
Love it. That sounds very inspirational.
Well, I don't know if it's inspirational, but it's perhaps dealing with realities and how to provide for affordable housing by increasing supply. Right now we have too much emphasis on xenophobic considerations, which I find unfortunately unnecessary, when really the real problem is supply and demand. If we had more supply, the housing costs would come down, I'm sure.
So